Hi, I'm Jas Obrecht, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast featuring my July 14th, 1987 interview with Eddie Van Halen and Sammy Hagar. My part of this adventure began that Tuesday afternoon when I rendezvoused with Eddie and his wife Verlie Bertinelli at their hotel, and we rode up together in a limousine to Sammy's spacious home atop a mountain near Mill Valley, California. Once we got there, Eddie, Sammy, and I went out on the patio to do this interview. By then, Sammy had already sung on Van Halen's 5150 album. He'd done a world tour with the band, and he just released what came out originally as his self-titled solo album, and has since been renamed I Never Said Goodbye. Eddie had co-produced that album and played bass on it, so we began our interview by talking about how Eddie came to be the bass player on this record and his thoughts about playing bass. From there, we delved into many aspects of their collaborations in the band Van Halen and on Sammy's solo album. At more than 80 minutes, this would be one of the most in-depth interviews that Eddie and Sammy would ever do together. We've decided to split it into two parts because of its length, so without any further ado, here's part one. I hope you enjoy it.
I guess the first question is, why did Eddie play bass on this album when you could have gotten any session
Could have got a
player?
good bass player, you mean?
And you could have had a session player or anyone else you
I am a
wanted.
session player.
You know, I sort of don't even know how the whole thing came about, but in retrospect, it was a great idea. Otherwise, he'd have been hounding the shit out of me to play guitar. Like, this guy could no way just sit behind the console and watch guys out there, cranking out music, right? He'd get in the way. He'd start bugging. He'd start just trying to do something, get ants in his pants, or else he wouldn't show up. So it was really a brilliant idea, whoever came up with it, to have him playing bass.
Were you tempted to play guitar?
Oh, yeah. I told him before this record's done, I've played at least one note.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
Secret note.
Secret passage.
Yes.
Did playing bass affect the way you view the instrument? Will you have anything to say, like to Michael Anthony or anything like that?
No, I always
it?
have a lot to say to Michael Anthony. No,
He's
no,
gonna
I've
say-
always played bass, and I always give Mike ideas and stuff.
The weird thing is that Tony Levin, when we were mixing the record, was doing Pink Floyd's record next door, and he was hanging around, and I was talking to him about Edward's bass playing. He's going, wow, the guy just really plays good bass. I said, yeah. I said, when he first started working the tunes up, I said he wasn't even playing bass, just playing some old crazy wild stuff. I said, and all of a sudden I said, hey, you got to start thinking more bass. He's like jamming my tune. I'm going, man, there's no bass.
I was having fun.
Exactly. I mean, but
I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to lay down and put the bass down.
Yeah.
I was
But
having
Tony-
fun.
Tony
cruising all
goes,
over the place.
wow, you got any tapes of that stuff? he was all interested before Edward got down and started really playing bass. But it really surprised me, because as soon as he buckled down and started trying to play bass, it blew my mind how well he thought bass, because bass is different than guitar, man.
Do you play it all, Sammy? Bass?
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm not a very good bass player. I do all my demos. I play bass on my demos, but it's different than guitar.
Huh.
You got to think downbeat, and guitar, it's almost upbeat. It's really the opposite for me, and I always end up turning the beat around on bass before the song's over.
Did you have to keep simplifying the bass part for the final take?
No, not really. It was just in the very beginning. I was going a little loony, just for fun.
I
To
said,
see how far I could go,
okay.
Do
Do you think would learning to play bass or taking up bass for a while help a guitarist? Do you think, someone who's never tried it?
Yeah.
Make your fingers stronger.
Oh, yeah.
Make you think simpler, huh? Well, go ahead.
Well,
I've always liked bass, though. I like
it's
bass
really
riffs.
different. It's like his melodic sense on bass was real good. That's what I was mostly impressed with, was the fact that melodically he played some real nice bass lines, and that's the hardest thing. I can sit there and go do do do. I can play metal bass, man. I'd be a great metal bass player. I can follow the guitar and down the neck, do 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 do. But he really thought melodically really well on the bass, which I thought was really nice, because it's it's half drums and half guitar.
As a co-producers, what can you say about getting a good guitar sound on record?
Use my rack.
Put a mic
Use
in
my
front of the amp. Put a mic in front of the speaker.
It's really not that hard. We kind of got it down over the years.
We mic the tubes.
Yeah.
Do you have a real scientific approach to it, or is
No.
it?
Use regular Sony mic. 57.
Yeah.
With Marshall amps?
I've worked with all kinds of different producers, and every one of them's got a different way of doing it. Keith Olsen, he really has a distinct guitar style. He even has his own amps and stuff, and he measures how far the things. He's down with a micrometer practically,
Right?
And which it's a good guitar sound, but it's real controlled, and it's been used a lot because he uses on everybody that comes through his studio.
Right.
But with Edward this time, I don't even know. We just basically let
I usually
Dave
know where to
Foner
put
go
the
in there.
mic, It's usually about that far away from the center,
Wait.
whatever.
Inch or two from the center of the speaker,
Huh? Yeah.
right up against the amp.
Plus, we have mics all over the place. A lot.
Yeah, there's room mics too.
Yeah,
but
we really used a lot of room
it
stuff.
depends. You just throw some mics up. It sounds good. You leave it. If it doesn't, you change.
Do you find that playing at a lower volume gives you a bigger sound on record?
No.
That's Tom Schultz there.
Yeah.
That's
It's like, wait, but
that's
Tom.
neither here nor there, man. When you close micing, it makes no difference.
How did you do the bass parts?
Direct.
Direct.
Why you played?
Oh yeah. We didn't use the amps.
He had
I had two
Blue Cheers old stack.
huge fucking acoustic stacks like that. That was separate in a different room, mic'd, and it's a combination of those and direct, mainly direct.
That was me.
Did you
Because I just wanted those amps, for the feel myself.
Move the hairs on your arm?
Oh yeah. Boy, these things did.
I kept having to run to the bathroom.
Did you use a pick or just fingers for bass?
Both.
What kind of bass?
Steinberger.
Headless?
Yeah.
Everything. Sammy, what guitars did you use?
The whole album I used that Kramer guitar that.
The red one on the cover?
Yeah. Well, no, that's actually a Hamer. And I used that on one song for a little cleaner sound and for a Kaler tailpiece, so I could do a little bow.
Do you know what model of guitar it is or the name?
The Kramer?
Yeah.
No, it's just got
Beretta,
one pickup, one volume, no tone, and
It's called the Beretta.
Were the differences in between the guitar tones on the album due to the way you mic'd or the settings or?
no, I think every album I've ever done, I've always used a different guitar. You go through all your arsenal, you put them up and you play them all, and you go, gee, well, this one sounds the best, and every time it's a different one. This time I was playing through, like I said, through his rig, and it just with that guitar and that rig, I tell you, I was when I plugged into that setup, Zeke, our guitar roadie, right? He just goes, hey, I think it was first the time I used it was on Over the Top, Winter Takes It Off, which Eddie played bass on that song also. And Zeke goes, hey man, I think I got you a pretty good guitar sound. I walked in and went bang and said, wow, it was just great.
That was through your rack?
Yeah.
What's it got in it? I mean,
It's just an old 100-watt Marshall, and what the hell's the guy's name? Built my rack?
I don't know. I can't even tell you what's in it. A couple echo units, couple.
Yeah, harmonizers.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget his name.
It's
I
studio
gotta mention
quality
his
stuff,
name,
you know.
man.
that guy down in L.A.
Yeah.
does all of them.
He does Steve Lukather's and
Tom Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, yeah.
So he would know exactly what's in it.
Yeah, but we didn't really use that. It's mainly the amp and the cabinet that's happening.
Yeah, for the sound. But even though when you hear a delay and stuff on there, most of the time, about 90%, it was on
Was
off
from
the
my
pedal
Mac,
board.
Was that the amp that was lost to India one
Yeah,
time? It used to be in a club down in L.A.
No, it used to be the Rose Palace in Pasadena.
It was their house amp?
Yeah.
You still use that for
Yeah,
records, huh?
that's my main amp.
Yeah, it
Ah.
sounds different than most Marshalls.
I lost that sucker once, man.
Yeah.
Japanese tour, we came back. We were supposed to play the Jam back in 79 or 78. And the fucking thing ended up in India.
Whoa.
Indian
Yeah.
Airlines.
Maybe that's why it sounds so good.
Yeah.
Maybe,
It's
you
got
know,
that, oh, yeah.
somebody took the mojo off it over there.
Did any of you do any engineering on the record?
No.
Or do you-
flip
Dave
some knobs
Thoner
in
was
there,
really
yeah.
competent, and he was
Talkback switch.
From day one, he would go. I mean, we just heard the sounds he was getting, and pretty soon you just really develop a trust in a guy.
Uh-huh.
And he was one of the kind of guys where you very seldom had to say anything to him.
Watch out underneath that cap there. It's a key under it.
Are you Albie Galutin? Albie Galutin?
No, no.
You don't know who Albie is?
No.
Oh man, he's like the producer.
Am I?
I thought it was another way of saying Eddie played keyboards.
Yeah, he's the guy who produced all those old Bee Gee hits, and
Oh,
he invented
should have known.
disco practically as a producer.
Did a lot of Donna Summer stuff, I think.
Yeah. So now he's the guy who sits in a studio. He's got a place about as big as 8 foot by 8 foot,
Yeah.
all with another room that's about 30 by 30 full of computer heads. And he's got one keyboard, some playback
Fair
speakers,
life.
and a board and a machine. And he just goes, hey, I need a singer.
It's a nice way to live.
I checked him out only because I thought it'd be interesting. Originally, I wanted to do a lot of percussion on this record, almost like Winwood's record. I wanted to have the drums be totally simple, kick, snare, hi-hat, no fills.
Yeah.
And then go to a guy like Albie, who's got every
Do all
percussion
the
sound in the
percussion
world.
overdub wise
Right.
as opposed to on the basic.
Yeah.
And we never did it. We just did a couple little silly things, and because actually Omar Hakim was there, so he did those 2 drum solo overdubs in the middle of and Back into You and Hands and Knees, and that's about all we needed. We just kept the album real sparse.
I noticed, Sammy, I hope you take this right, but your
Okay.
playing seems better than ever. You've really seemed to gotten a lot more legato, and your melodies were real nice.
Yeah.
And
Got more with God? What?
legato.
Well, is all I could say is that maybe it's just the confidence because I didn't play it. Like you could say, has Eddie inspired you? Of course, he's inspiring, but I didn't rip him off. There's
Sure.
no Eddie licks on this record,
Right.
so it's not like that.
There's one. No.
I think musically, being in Van Halen,
Uh-huh.
it's been an inspiration, and in a way, it's been an inspiration to me as a human being to make me a little more confident in myself, because all of a sudden my solo career is no longer like bread and butter,
Right.
like it used to be. That was it. If Sammy Hagar record stiffs, and Sammy Hagar is over.
Yeah.
Now Sammy Hagar's record stiffs. Well, hey man, I still got the greatest band in the world to be involved in, or vice versa. So it's like it kind of gives you a little more confidence to be yourself and just say, hey man, this is what I like.
Take more
working-
chances, Don't have to
Exactly.
worry about it.
Plus
You know,
working with Eddie. I mean, he.
In concert, you introduced Eddie as the greatest guitarist in the world.
I think he is.
And what are your observations on playing occasional lead guitar in a band with the greatest guitarist in the world? There's a lot of people who argue.
Kind of makes me put on a nice little hat too. Say, yeah, I can jam with this cat. No. I don't know. It's like, to me, I wouldn't even consider myself in the same league as a technician and as the amount of chops.
Uh-huh.
But as an expression,
Yeah, he's
to express myself, I can do that. So, however simple it is, I can communicate as well as Eddie or as well as anyone else. I just can't communicate on as many different levels and for as long. and I can't get as deep with the conversation.
He gets
but
the point across very well.
I can say, yeah, I got a headache today.
Has Sammy had
I'm
any?
horny now.
Yeah. Yo, mom, I'm
Has Sammy had any impact on your playing, either by his songwriting or the melodies he comes up with? Or...
Well,
Yeah.
he's inspired the hell out of me.
Get it?
Writing
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
I ripped one of his licks off, which he ripped from Neil. No.
It's an old Ronnie Montrose.
No, it's just a funny little lick.
It's actually, I don't know who invented it. Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, Ronnie Montrose, maybe Neil.
Yeah.
I think Neil capitalized
You
on
do it best, though.
Yeah.
Do you guys have much exchange of information, or showing each other parts, or?
You mean a guitar?
Yeah.
No, not really. We've never really sat down and
Yeah.
jammed playing guitar.
I mean, we've jammed, but not like, hey, let's work out a thing.
During
here.
sound check, we fuck around.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Who was it, CP?
Your aunt from San Leandro wants you to call back, please. Yeah.
My Aunt Maxine?
That's right.
Oh, mercy, man.
She's checking on your ass.
Sammy, did you use any open guitar tunings on the album?
Only on the lap slide.
Standing at the crossroads.
Yeah,
The
and
same old crossroads.
yeah, and all the solos I did with the solo in Boys Night Out and the little guitar licks in the background of Privacy. I use the lap slide stuff, and it's open to
Open G.
Open E.
What kind of lap is it?
It's an old
Gibson?
53 Gibson. Looks like a Hawaiian guitar. It's
It's got soul bar pickup in it.
same guitar that
play
you
it?
did Bad Motor Scooter, back
Sit
then
down and
all
go.
that stuff.
What kind? You use a the full Stevens bar, or
Yeah.
The bar with the little dip in it that you can lay your finger
the
in.
ridge that you can hold with
Yeah.
your fingers?
Yeah. I don't know how to play it. And that's the only time Eddie worked my nerves was on the guitar solo in the Boys' Night Out. There was a lick right at the end. The last lick. And I originally did it real sloppy. I just winged it, you know. And he goes, I'd like to try it. So we kept, man, I swear, I must have tried just punching in on that lick 1,000 times. And it got to a point where my hand was like, oh, man, I was dying. I said, man.
And I still
Edward,
wanted to do it better.
Yeah, I could not do it better. I said, Edward, I can't play this instrument. I can only jam on it. You know, I can't like work parts out, you know. I can't. I never play the thing, you know. So, but it sounds so good, you know.
Were you the overseer of the guitar stuff, Eddie?
I was just kind of there to help in any way I could, you know.
Yeah.
He was a good coach because I think he didn't expect me to play like him. And only one time he asked me to do something. Well, he said, why don't you try playing something like this? And that's when it was towards the end of the album. And I said, hey, hand in guitar. I said, that's your kind of trip. I want you just, and there's your lick on my record. And it was just a little intro to this thing, you know, and to its part. And so other than that, he was a great coach. I tell you, he's a better coach for me vocally. That's where, I mean, I think my singing on the 5150 record was just beyond
Incredible.
Everything I've done put together, you know. And part of it is because Edward, he's a great coach for me because he's not a lead vocalist, I think, and he can just kind of, it's like, all right, hey, he's like using my voice to get his ideas out.
How would he tell you what to do?
Well,
Try this.
yeah, it'd be like,
You'd sing it?
Huh?
You'd sing
I'll try and hum it, you know. Or...
usually an octave lower.
Yeah. But it's incredible. I can do anything I ask him to do.
I'd go in there and wing the tune first, and just go through all the way through, and kind of get my ideas out, and then we'd take and just spice it up, you know, put the icing on the cake, and it was a real good. It's a real good rapport.
Yeah.
For me as a vocalist, I'm real
Worked
happy.
on 2 records.
When you're doing the
Yeah.
call and response thing in concert, Eddie, you ever tempted to pitch it up a few notes?
Say that one more time.
When you're doing the guitar against Sammy's vocals, you ever tempted to take it up a few
You
notes?
mean live?
Yeah,
Noodling stuff?
take it up to farther than you
Shit, I can go all the way high as I want, and he matches it.
I can scream, at least scream that high, you know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
up on top of the neck. Yeah, but when we do that in Best of Both Worlds in the beginning, that just happened spontaneous, and we never worked it out either.
No.
Like we never said, okay, let's do, you know, every night we winged it. And some nights, you know, if my voice wasn't in real good shape, you know, I'd go, you know, da da da. I'd go down instead of up, you know.
Would you change the set from night to night, or is it the same songs?
I don't remember, really. Did we?
Yeah, we did once in a while. I think especially the encores, we'd always jam those, but it's hard. It is
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of hard to
Sometimes I
remember.
come out and you guys wouldn't know what I'm playing.
That's right. Couple
Really?
times I stand there.
Sometimes I come out just jamming a new riff, you know.
So you don't mind going away from the script?
Oh, not at all.
Did you ever do a song on stage that you weren't that well rehearsed with?
Hey man, for encores we played Rock Candy, a song we never rehearsed. Many times we played Make It Last, song we never rehearsed. What else? We played Pipeline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was
came
good.
Out. Yeah, that was that. We ended up keeping that for a while.
Yeah,
Pipeline, that's a
Pipeline.
good one.
No, it was
Dual
we did
guitar.
Wipeout too,
No.
didn't we?
Dun, dun,
No,
dun,
no,
dun.
no,
That's
no,
Pipeline,
that was
right?
cool.
Isn't that Pipeline?
Yeah.
Apache?
Pipeline, Pipeline.
Yeah, it's
Which
Pipeline.
one's that?
That's Wipeout.
Wipeout, okay. Funk My
Why play that
Surf
one next? But a couple times Edward, he'd play some bizarre riff. I mean, you know, him and his brother, you got to realize being in a band with brothers, it can be tough once in a while because these two guys, you know, born and raised together, they think alike. One guy, you know, Ed kicks him off and Al goes, got you, boom. And I'm going, this is a Dutch tune. A couple times I didn't even walk out for the encore till they were finished.
Really?
Yeah, I'd wait. I'd say, man, I'm not going to go out there and stand around, look like a jerk, you know. So I'd either strap on a guitar and come out and start blowing lead, and that would usually cool Eddie off because he'd have to start out on rhythm, right, to get the feel. So I'd just immediately strap my guitar, come out blowing lead, and he'd say, okay, let's change the song.
How do you signal when you want to stretch out? Is there a thing you do?
Well, like
Yeah, you just don't come back in.
Yeah. Like I told you in the car, all my solos end with a nod to Al.
Yeah,
So I just
that's
keep
right.
going until I turn around.
Would you change your main solo from night to night, the guitar solo?
Yeah, I'd change it now and then.
Do you ever actually quote classical pieces in that thing?
Huh?
Do you ever quote an actual classical piece?
I was doing for release there for a while.
Is eruption always part of it?
Yeah.
Okay, you did a thing where you're working the volume knob I think it's part of Little Cathedral or something.
Yeah.
And you're not picking it all, right?
Right.
How do you get the sustain out of that? It's just
Delay.
delay.
Yeah. Echo.
It is a cool sound, I gotta admit.
It is.
I gotta even say that after 7 months on the road, every night I really enjoyed this guy's guitar solo for many reasons. No, I really did, man. It's like there was only one night where I can say that he did a sloppy guitar solo, and I told him about it. I don't know if you remember, but I said, man, that was the worst you ever played. I was real disappointed because
That was fun.
he's a little drunk, man. And I mean, he played sloppy. I was going, oh, God damn, Edward. But, at his worst, the guy plays better than most people, in my opinion. So even to slap the people, they didn't notice anything. But I do because, I've heard him be so on.
Yeah.
That,
Are you playing more guitar in concert or less than you used to?
I flip-flopped it. I used to front in my old band. I used to front without playing guitar about 8 songs.
Uh-huh.
And play guitar in the rest. And now I played in about 8 songs of Van Halen. And between 6 and 8, depending on the encore, what we jam, and then I sang the rest. So I kind of flip-flopped it.
What are your main concert guitars? Was that a Randy Rhoads Concord?
Yeah, that was a good sounding guitar until this Kramer, and I don't endorse any guitar. I don't endorse anything, period. And I hate to keep pushing on this Kramer guitar, but I don't know what it is about it. But Eddie even played it in the studio. Then he go, wow, this thing's louder than mine. It's like really powerful guitar, and I don't know why. It's just a combination. Every guitar is different. You can build them exactly the same, and that they sound different.
Huh.
And it's one of those real hot ones. And the neck is so right. And who made that neck? Actually, that other guy, Ripley.
Yeah, the neck. He set it up.
I tell you, they got to feel right for me. I'm like Eddie's guitar. I pick his guitar. I don't see how he plays the guitar.
Why?
It's the neck feels too skinny to me this way. And
it's a goofy little guitar.
Yeah, it's
what do
like,
you mean the neck's thin from?
Well, all the way around, actually. It's not too bad thickness.
You used to like a wide sort of flat.
Yeah, I don't know. I
fingerboard.
changed, man. I just basically go by if the guitar sounds good, I use it.
The strings are too high for me. His wiggle bar is like, you grab it, you go, whoa, this thing's it's not connected. It moves about a foot before it does anything.
My bar is really loose, it just kind of wobbles.
Really?
Yeah.
As much as I jump around, the bar always would nail me in the knuckles, man. It's like,
Is that because you ground out the back more, routed out the back of the guitar to give it
No,
more
this is a
room?
different guitar, I think. No, this was.
Which
regular.
guitar are you talking about? The red Strat style guitar?
Yeah.
Is that the same body as the
No,
one you were
it's a different
playing
one.
a long time ago?
No, different.
It's still one pickup?
This is a Kramer. The other one was an old boogie body one. Yeah, one pickup.
What kind of pickup works best for you?
I have no idea. Oh, a humbucking. I don't know what kind it is. It's
Yeah.
either Seymour or an old PAF.
yeah, I don't think they're humbuckings. I think, aren't they?
They're humbuckings.
They're not like DiMarzio or something,
No.
or.
No, humbucking means two pole.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant brand name.
No,
Because they're
they're not the Marzios. They're Seymours. Yours is a Seymour.
it's the same thing as yours because that's what Zeke put it on there.
Do you still like the flat fingerboard?
I used to like them when I used to use Dan Electro necks.
Uh-huh.
But God, I don't know. I'm really not picky about guitars anymore at all.
Really?
Yeah, I play anything as long as it sounds good. And it's mainly my main guitar, which is actually quite a piece of shit, but it sounds good.
Did you still slap them together yourself at all? Work on them?
I haven't played the guitar in years.
Do you run into any common guitar problems on the road, either with wirelesses or amps or instruments themselves?
I only had a problem once this year with my wireless. That was the first night of filming.
That's right. That was hell.
For Live Without a Net. I don't know what the hell it was, but nothing worked. Cordless units.
I actually never have. I got this weird HME guitar setup, right?
HME?
Yeah, they don't even make them, I don't think, anymore. I got it in '77, and this thing's been good to me. It's been to Europe, and there's only about 3 places in the world where I had problems with it.
None of
Really
these.
HME guitar?
No, cordless unit.
Cordless
Oh, I'm
unit.
sorry.
None of that stuff ever worked for me. I tried Nady, I tried HME, everything, man. Nothing worked for me. So finally I had to get Sony to custom make me one. It's the only one of its kind. It's great, though.
So I didn't see the last tour, but I understand '84 that Edward was spent half the time back down in the guitar pit trying to get his stuff to work.
Yeah.
Really?
So that's.
Do you have a regular roadie?
Yeah.
Rudy still?
No, not anymore. A guy named Zeke.
Zeke, that's right. How was this last tour, Sammy? How would it compare with the other outings you've done?
Hey, I don't think this last tour could compare to anything because it was so the anticipation and the tension from the crowd to see this band for the first time every
Yeah.
night when we walked out on stage. We had a barricade
Overwhelming.
that you know that we our own stage and everything, right? We had a barricade, same barricade Van Halen probably used all their career, same type barricade I used all my career. That one that people build for you, the same barricade. We opened up the first night in Shreveport. Boom, man! It knocked it
And that was a
down.
big metal.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
And they knocked the
Those were
whole
regular wooden ones.
10,000 people, so a small
Wow.
hall, and they split the stage back 6 feet. The lights were all out of focus
Wow.
when we walked out on stage. I mean, it was my fur goes up a little bit remembering the type of intensity from when we first came out on stage, and then the people would go into a weird mode of awe, because we'd be up there really getting it. Then they started really tripping out. They would almost like quiet down, and then halfway through or towards the end of the show, then the place was nuts again. Then we tried to leave, and it was like, okay, we better go back out, I think.
Really?
So it was pretty intense, I got to say, and I don't think anything will ever be like that again because it was part of the fact that they were just anxious to see what is this going to be like.
Did it seem different for you, Eddie?
Yeah. It's crazier.
And fun. It was like a real up kind of.
Oh,
there
yeah.
was no dark vibe about it. It's hard to explain, but
Do you ever get scared on stage, like when people throw stuff up, or
Yeah.
you see weird
I don't like
things?
getting hit by quarters and bottles flying by.
I don't mind.
Throw them at Sammy from
I
now
won't
on.
print that for your benefit.
No, I got to admit, a couple times, man.
People just do that though, just to be part of it. They won't party in like your face.
Yeah, once a guy drinks a fifth of Jack Daniels, it's like he thinks he's doing the right thing by heaving a bottle at you.
Yeah. Have you ever been hurt on stage?
I've hurt myself, not from the audience.
Yeah.
I've twisted my ankle. I've just ripped tendons in my feet, like for practically every tour.
Yeah.
And I ran into a speaker cabinet one time in a real low ceiling in I think Albuquerque or somewhere. I was running up on my ramps in the VOA tour, and the speaker cabinets were right here, and I didn't see them black, and I was
man.
running full speed, boom, wham, and the next thing I knew, I just stood there, and I went, whoa, oh, what happened? Where am I? I mean, I was cold for a few seconds, and you can see the scars. I actually got two, and man, blood just all over the place. I finished the set. We knocked about 20 minutes off of it, but I was bleeding. And after a while, I got into it, man. It was a strange sensation, having blood running down your face. I felt like, yeah, and the people were going crazy in the front when they're seeing blood. I mean, it was a weird sensation. That was a strange show. I got to say, for me in my life, that was a strange show, but never from the audience.
Huh.
I fell down, and cut myself all up and stuff.
I just racked up my knees from sliding on them too long. Cracked like crazy.
What did you guys learn about each other in a year on the road?
It's hard to say.
He's a great guy.
We had an instant rapport, so
Yeah.
it's a funny thing. I feel like I've known Edward for a long time, and Michael and Alex. I feel like
It's meant to be.
it was pretty natural thing.
Yeah.
I don't know because we're grown ups now or something or whatever, but it just seemed like it was really pretty natural.
You had a really successful solo career right before it. Was there ever a question that you'd have enough room for what you wanted to do?
No, I've done man. I've been. I hate to sound like an old timer here, but God, I've been in this business for so long. It's like, been in different bands, and the HSAS project in a funny way with Neil Schoen really warmed me up for coming to Van Halen. It really did. It was like one of those perfect moves to where if I wouldn't have done that, I don't know, it would have been a little harder probably for me to get used to being in such a democratic situation.
Yeah.
Because I was so used to being a solo artist for so long. But I was really ready to be back in a band. That's why I did the HSS thing. I was just chomping for some new input, some guys that I could, be in a band again, and just got tired of carrying the ball. Man, I had to do all the interviews, all the photo sessions, all this, all that, and that really wears thin after 10 years.
Yeah.
So
Now he doesn't do anything.
yeah, I'm trying to get Alex to do all the interviews. I think that's going to be our next Van Halen boy. We'll get Alex to do everything.
That'd be interesting.
You certainly would. It certainly would.
Was it strange playing with David Losser instead of Alex?
Well, no, because I was playing bass. I was playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think Dave's a great drummer. It was a lot of fun.
Do you foresee, are there any other outside projects, not non-traditional Van Halen releases
Van
in the works
Halen's it,
for
man.
anyone?
The only reason I did Sammy was, work with Sammy's because it's part of Van Halen.
There was talk about you doing stuff with Patti Smythe and with Pete Townsend and stuff like that.
Oh, that was before we got Sammy. I didn't know what I was going to do, really, when Ross left.
Has the fact that you've had your first #1 album created pressure for the follow-up?
Well, the last one went to #2, so no.
We used my album for a pressure valve.
Yeah.
This one now?
Yeah, see, there was no expectations with my record. It's like, okay, it's just a solo record. We can do anything we want. We can be self-indulgent, and there's no weird pressures. I mean, none. And it's, in a way, that's kind of a nice release for the next Van Halen record. We kind of warmed up for it in a weird way.
To me, having just a top 5 album or whatever, is the same. #1, #2, same amount of pressure. It doesn't change anything to me.
Yeah, I hate to let any mystique out, but truth of the matter is the charts all depend on who's out at the time. For instance, '84, I'm sure would have been a #1 record when
Michael Jackson wasn't there.
Yeah.
You got to
He just kept us down.
You got to look at it like that. We knocked Whitney Houston out. Yo, man, that's
Yeah,
one of the greatest accomplishments of all time. But she came back and knocked us out again or something like that.
So I'm gonna take that from these white boys.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
See, it's no fair. We don't sell to black people. And she sells to white people, too. So her and Michael Jackson and Prince, they have something over us, man. I got to start dancing more, I guess. I don't know,
No, we gotta,
Maybe you need some tighter outfits.
Yeah, just dance a little more, man. Put a little in the music.
I think Al will go for that.
You think there'll come a time when...
I like this, man. Simulated love.
What is that?
Simulated love.
Man,
Looks like simulated plastic.
Yeah, look, I was just going to say, it looks like fake plastic.
Wow. Leave it to the judge.
Bum job, man.
Do you get bombarded by new equipment?
Yeah, but I usually don't pay any attention to it. I haven't really checked anything out, really.
Really?
Guess I haven't really been doing much of anything, period.
I tell you, the only thing I get off on new equipment, like a guy like Zeke, our guitar guy, Zeke, I'll say, hey, Zeke, anything cool new out? Yeah, you bring it up.
Oh, yeah.
And you get a
I do the
chance,
same thing.
you get a chance to kind of jam with a different sound. And sometimes you bump into a sound that might inspire a lick or something to make you write a song off of it. Other than that, man, I hate equipment. I hate all the new stuff. I walk into a music store, man, I just turn around and walk out, man. I'll buy a
It's too
pick.
goddamn complicated, man.
It's
digital, this, samples,
And it keeps changing, and there's 15 different units. You say, wow, well, which one do you get, And then you got to read each manual to find out which one's better than the other. I mean, to learn how to work it, just in order to try it out and find out if it's better than the other. So it's so complex. You spend all your time like keyboard players. Poor guys, they never get to play.
Read manuals.
Yeah. Anymore,
like
they just set it up, and push a button.
On your record, poor Jesse, god damn.
He
With
thought
his computer and everything, trying to figure out a sound. God, he spent 2 days on a sound.
That's right.
And then get to play for 5 minutes.
It's
It doesn't
crazy.
seem fair,
Poor
You've
keyboard
always
player.
seemed to contend that it comes from your hands.
Well, that's when you're using a sequencer and all this other garbage, your hands don't matter. You can play with your toes.
No,
if you
in terms of guitar, though.
Oh, yeah. I don't use many effects on guitar. But keyboard-wise, that's why I like using the OB8s, because it's a lot easier to get sounds out of them.
Yeah, a good example is I used his same amp setup, right, for my album, and
Yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
different
sound
sound.
anything like Eddie's. It's a great guitar sound,
He
but
plays different, his touch is
yeah,
different.
it really is different.
Is your amp the one modified by Jose?
It's nothing really done to it, tell you the truth.
Huh.
He's worked on it, yeah. But it's kind of my
You
own
used to
little
say,
fix.
you told me one time you had a Variac put in it or something.
Well, it's not in it, but I use one.
Do you still do that?
Yeah.
Does that blow a lot of speaks?
No.
Hey, as many speakers he's got hooked up. I mean, there's no sanctuary on a Van Halen stage. If you don't,
Yeah, you
it's
can't
either
get
you're
away.
either going to run into Al's monitors, Michael's bass setup, or Eddie's guitar amp. It's like singers that have nowhere to hide.
Bigger than
It's
what
like-
you're used to?
Yeah, and it's what's so weird is just 3 pieces, So it's all real separate. You stand in front of Eddie, that's all you can hear. You stand in front
Yeah.
of Michael, that's all you can hear. And if you go near Alex,
It's
you're
not
in
much
trouble.
of a great balance, no.
It's the loudest drum sound in front and sitting on,
That's all
sound
you
check.
really hear on stage is drums.
Yeah. On sound check, I'll sit down at Al's drums and just hit the snare, and I swear,
The
it is so loud that
my
it's
amp, though,
scary.
my amp though, Jose did do something to it. I don't know what exactly.
What is that? Do you take that amp on the road with you?
No, I use a different one live. Because I don't lose it to India again.
Yeah, I can imagine so. So from your guitars, your signal goes through the wireless to a rack?
I don't even know now, man. Get that Zeke that.
I think that's what it does. The wireless actually has a little preamp. It actually gives you a little gain.
Yeah.
In your case, you probably were real picky about setting it up so it didn't alter your sound.
Right.
To where me, I have mine cranked all the way, and I use it on my rack setup. I use it for my gain without it. Like if it breaks and I have to go to a chord, it's pretty clean. It's and I go, oh shit.
What's in your rack?
Just some power amps and like 2 300-watt power amps and this little tube thing. They're solid state power amps. They have a little tube preamp that everything goes through to give me a little.
You know who makes them?
My old sound guy and my old tech from my solo days, Dan Barr, DB. He's out with Boston right now.
BAR?
BARR, yeah.
2 R's?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
As in bar, the elephant or whatever.
Bar.
Oh, yeah, I used to use like 600-700-watt Marshalls. Now I only use 2 power amps. Take a speaker out the power amps.
It's a lot more reliable.
It duplicates the exact sound of the Marshall.
Really?
Yeah.
Has working with Eddie caused any change in your equipment views?
Not really. It's funny because I'm really not into equipment. It's like I'm real easy going. Like I say, I work with a
Actually,
producer.
it's the other way around. When I saw your rack, I said, "Hey Zeke, get me some of that shit."
Yeah, it's like Eddie's shit was always breaking.
Because I never used anything really, I used to use an old Echoplex, and the tape would pop out, and I'd say, fuck the Echoplex, just use a straight chord.
Uh-huh.
But then I saw Sammy's rack, a couple of harmonizers and a delay unit, and I said, give me some of that shit.
So does Zeke control your signal and he changes the sounds?
Well, see, I have like 3 echo units and 2 harmonizers, and they're all preset. Nothing needs to be changed.
But how do you activate them?
Foot pedal.
Do they show a number or something?
No, it's just 5 knobs, Whichever effect I want, I push 1 through 5.
Do you know what each one
Sure.
what each one does?
Uh-huh.
Could you tell me?
Oh, well, right now I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't remember. Shit.
Well, all right,
It's like 3 different echoes and 2 harmonizers.
And then there's a multi echo. One of them's got a long and a short one together.
Yeah.
Kind of the
I don't know which one's which.
the Andy Summers kind of sound.
Uh-huh. When do you use the Steinberger? Is it for certain songs or?
Yeah.
Why?
I used it on Get Up and Summer Nights. Because I kind of wrote those songs with that tremolo in mind.
What can you do with that?
You
Different
can,
from a
you
Floyd.
can transpose the whole guitar and play in tune. You can take it up a third,
Yeah.
Lock it,
Right.
play up higher, like using a capo.
Right.
You can get slide type sounds where the whole guitar changes in tune.
Uh-huh.
That's what it does.
Yeah, it's a cool invention. It's so complex. Honestly, how this guy plays it blew my mind the first time he played me Summer Nights. That's when I actually first time I got around to these guys. That's what they played was we jammed Summer Nights, and I started singing to it. And, you think you're in one key, and he goes gang, and I'm going, whoa, man, what the
All of a sudden, I'm in a completely different key, which normally would be impossible to do.
Yeah.
You change the lock while during the song?
Yeah, uh-huh.
It's on the handle. It's got
It's
little
on the handle. You
wedges
just
on
pull
it.
it up and lock it. Yeah, you play in a different key.
But they were nice.
Stuff the singer.
There were 2 or 3
Stumped
nights
the
so
singer.
on stage where he stumped himself with that guy.
Yeah.
Put it in the wrong lock,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And it
Especially during the solo section. Always. God damn, I go, I fucking missed it.
and Michael kick in.
Oh,
I
no,
remember
that was on
Summer
the record,
Nights.
not live. Live, I never did that.
Yeah,
It was on the
Summer
record.
Nights. No, Summer Nights one time you had it
Yeah.
locked in the wrong place,
One
and
time.
and Mike kicks in. It was like, and Mike was, it's totally different keys, man. I mean, you guys were like, and I'm going, oh, whoa, man, this is gonna be good. So we stopped. I don't know if you remember. I don't even remember where it was, but we stopped and said, well, wait, hold it, man. It was like, and it's the second tune in the set, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like,
I noticed during the video of that song, during your solo, I think it was that one, you were playing with taps, right? And for once I couldn't tell that just by listening and not watching, I couldn't tell when you were tapping and when you were using a pick.
Oh.
Whereas it seemed like years ago you could always distinguish the taps. Do you? Can you just intersperse them at will?
But yeah, I guess.
Something you don't think about it.
No, really. It's just part of my playing, I don't know.
Yeah, part of his pull-offs that I always notice is when he, that same thing, but it's to me, it's when he does pull-offs. Go, it's like
right.
He can be taking a hit off of smoke and you swear he's picking these notes. He pulls off so clean. And each note is the same volume. A lot of guys, pull off, it just, you get a little sloppy.
Yeah, it sounds like
yeah.
Mine are pretty smooth, yeah.
Yeah, his pull-offs, like, so, his hands are so strong or something that it's like, sounds like he's picking each note. It's that aggressive. There's no, and he's sitting there. I'm going, man, this son of a bitch.
We just did a poster of 100 picks of different famous people, and we have one of your 5150s in there, and that is by far the thinnest pick of anyone except Ted Nugent, who uses an identical pick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can get those sounds with such a floppy little skinny piece of cellophane,
Yeah, I don't either. I actually just kind of use whatever Zeke throws me,
Yeah, your picks are thin. I used to use that thinner pick too, and I use about 1 gauge heavier now.
You use a heavier one. I have one of yours at company.
I think I used to break too many
Well, the Van
strings.
Halen one, I don't use that one.
I used to break too many strings.
I use
think,
these
when I-
Dunlop
Oh,
thin
yeah, those nylon ones.
nylon ones. Because I like the other side of them with the
Little grooves
yeah,
in them.
little hold on
Rough
thing.
stuff.
That's what I pick with. A lot of
Really?
times you go that scratch.
Would you hit with the shoulder of the pick?
Yeah.
So you do that too, don't you? Or do you
No.
pick with the pointy end?
Regular pointy end.
I mean, I use pointy end too, but a lot of times when I'm doing a slow solo and just taking one note, you could kind of
Whoa.
scratch. Yes, I mean, suckers after me, man.
When you were doing Hands and Knees, that has such a great thick opening guitar sound. Is it you playing with octaves there or something?
Yeah, and that's the only song I used a different guitar, and that is that's my 55 guitar. That's what I used on the whole VOA album. Ted Templeman loved that guitar, but we compared it with the Kramer on this album, and we happen to like the Kramer better, but I didn't have the Kramer then. But it's the fattest, thickest guitar. I mean, you can play through a twin reverb on 2, and it'll distort that sucker because it's got bottom. I don't know what it is. It's just so I use that, for the wow, and
It's a great sound.
well, it's just
Man.
fat, but no sustain. It's a strange thing.
Yeah.
It would die a lot. I mean, I'd go on those long licks where the way or whatever. I'd go. It barely. A lot of times I go, God damn it! The thing is gonna die
Seems
out
like it's got a
before I
lot,
get
but it's in spurts.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay.
It
doesn't
dies
sustain.
out quick. It's a funny guitar, but it certainly is fat. If you want a big fat guitar and don't want to double it or anything, it does a good job. That guitar has a neck on it that feels like this goddamn bottle, man. It is
Yeah,
it's like an
huge,
amplifier.
man. Yeah, it's very hard to play lead on.
Huh. I like the Hands and Knees solo. Was that a tough one to cut?
No, you
He's
know
just
what?
winging it.
That's right. That's the one where Omar was there, and he goes, "Well, what's going to happen in this spot?" We just had just the drums going boom, no, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we had it real empty, and I said, just put some fills in. He goes, "What's going to go on in there?" We said, "I'm doing guitar solo." So I said, "Look, I'll just lay one down just quickly," and I just winged it. Right? We lived with it, and when it came back time to do it, we're like, Eddie's going, it's a pretty good solo. I said, it actually is. It was one of those
So we
ones.
left it.
I didn't even think. The funny thing is, I couldn't hear myself playing in the headphones. I went in and I said, "Oh, well, fuck it. I'm not going to
Just to
stop."
give Omar kind of a guideline of what's going
And
on.
I
He ended up
jammed without
using it.
hearing one note I was playing.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. That was. I had to go in and listen back, and that's half the reason why I didn't know if it was good or not. I thought, I probably screwed up all over the place. But that's that sound. That was that bizarre setting you got on there.
Mhm.
It's got the 2 harmonizers and the two different echoes, and
Real long delay.
the delay is as loud as the first note.
It's actually the same delay that I use on Cathedral.
That's right.
So you weren't using the volume.
So it's weird to play to. It's a good thing I didn't hear myself.
This concludes the first part of our interview together. Stay tuned for part 2. Portions of this interview were transcribed, and I used them for my October 1987 cover story with Eddie and Sammy. I also did separate interviews that day, one with Eddie and Valerie in the limousine as we went up to Sammy's house, and another one in Sammy's sports car as he was shuttling me to the photo shoot. That was kind of interesting because Sammy's license plate said Kent 55, and as we were speeding down the freeway, people were honking and waving and speeding past us. Stay tuned for these podcasts as well. And if you'd like to help us continue to make podcasts such as these, please hit that donate button. Before signing off, I want to thank my podcast producer, Nick Hunt, who happens to be manning the camera at this very moment. And I want to thank the fine folks at the University of North Carolina Southern Folklife Collection for digitizing and maintaining all of my interviews. This podcast is copyright 2023, all rights reserved. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next time.